I wanted to just take a few moments to speak about the new moon coming up in a couple days. I don't know what all of you have been experiencing, but for me, it has been, I've just been experiencing some grief and I would say sadness at times. It's interesting. Sometimes I'll see externally a lot of positive things happening, and it's just exciting and something to look forward to. And then lately, I've just been seeing a lot of stories of further exploitation of the earth, harm to animals, different groups of animals, different habitats being invaded further for their resources, and just situations where people are senselessly killed, and a child, it could have been prevented and it just didn't have to happen. And yeah, so I'm seeing a lot more of that right now. And it really correlates, I would say, with like this new moon that's going to happen in a couple days. The new moon is 28 degrees Scorpio. If you round that up, it'd be 29 degrees for looking at the Sabian symbol, which we're going to talk about. But it's really interesting if you take into consideration that it's basically almost at the anaretic degree. If you round it up, it is at the anaretic degree. We just had our new moon in Libra last month. That was at the anaretic degree of Libra. And now we're here again. And it's conjunct Mercury, which is also retrograde. So that's also playing a role here where we're revisiting thought processes, old stories, unspoken truths that are up for review. And we also have a Grand Trine in water where this is concerned. Sun, Moon, and Mercury are all in Scorpio. Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces, and Jupiter's in Cancer. So emotional and psychic sensitivity is very heightened. It's definitely an opportunity to dissolve old stories. That's definitely Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, dissolving the old stories, as well as revisiting with Mercury in retrograde, revisiting those stories and reliving them from a mental and emotional standpoint. Jupiter is also helping in Cancer with that and having compassion for ourselves and for others. And so I'm really feeling that. I'm really feeling a sense of sadness, not necessarily for my own personal stories, but for, I would say, the collective, and just seeing what's happening in the world. And so it's been an emotional time. And Uranus is also in Taurus and in opposition to this new moon. And so that is also can very much be sudden insights and shocks and really disruptive as well, as to what comes through, like different breakthroughs that comes through. So, I mean, it is definitely is in our favor. These things need to be released and transmuted and let go of. And we need to be able to let go of anything that is keeping us from getting into right relationship, where in particular Mars and Venus are concerned. In particular, the masculine and feminine are concerned. And I always speak to that right and left brain consciousness, bridging that gap. And it's very interesting. Venus have come under the sun. Mars is coming into the sun tomorrow. Venus is already there. And the sun's rays are going to be purifying both Mars and Venus. So that masculine and feminine aspect, all the distortion is supposed to be purified, which is all very, very positive. All this is very positive, in my opinion. It's just things that have to happen. A soul level detox, an emotional level, spiritual level detox that we're going through. I feel like I've been going through that for months. But a lot of that is because of my own personal transits, Pluto opposing my MC, but conjunct my IC and my North Node, and then squaring both my AC and DC angles. It's interesting too. We were talking about Saturn and Neptune, that dissolving old stories. And that has been squaring my mind, Mercury. And also the galactic center is right there. And so that square mentally is this restructuring of my mind happening. It's very apparent. And ultimately, I would say a good thing, but it's been challenging. It's been interesting. So we're going through a restructuring just like the Earth is at this time. With this Grand Water Trine, it becomes a kite with Uranus at the focal point, and that's just reinforcing inner emotional and spiritual work. That is fuel for real life breakthroughs and changes. And this isn't just like feel your feelings, it's change your life because you finally felt them. I want to talk briefly about the Sabian symbol that it's just over 28 degrees in Scorpio. So we round that up to 29 degrees in Scorpio. The Sabian symbol for that is an Indian squaw pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. So what does that make you think about? This is, I would say, karmic accountability. And the feminine principle is feeling compassion for her children and doesn't want any harm to come to her children. In spite of everything that we have done in left brain consciousness, in this lower state of consciousness, because we were letting that run the show, not right brain consciousness. That hasn't been running many people's show. They've been leading with this left brain consciousness, this ego aspect, this individuated aspect has been taking the lead and unfortunately making a lot of decisions that have harmed the earth, that have harmed others and actually themselves, And that can no longer continue. Like we're coming to this culmination. This is a culmination karmic point. And we have to now purge and let go of anything that's not authentically us, anything that is keeping us from leveling up. We have to be able to purge and let go of that, like a snake shedding its skin. We have to be able to let go of that and transmute all of the pain that we're going to have to feel the pain that we've caused for sure, but also transmute that and let that go and just have compassion for ourselves. But this is a very important new moon. I mean, certainly all of them are, but this is very important at this time that we are able to really take a good look at ourselves and make the changes necessary to be able to step into our true purpose during this life. What are we really here to do? I was thinking today, I was watching something and I was thinking we were meant to be a blessing to this world. We were meant to be helping this world. And so much of what we have done has been harmful. It's just been so harmful. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We can make choices to step into that role of being a blessing to the world. There's no reason for that other than that we were in this lower consciousness state and we just forgot who we are. But we have to let that go now. We have to remember who we are. We have to remember and allow for our soul selves to guide us and the divine aspect to guide us and understand that that is who and what we are. And so, the vulnerable must be defended, the innocent must be protected. The divine feminine, the right brain consciousness has to be allowed to lead again. And the left brain consciousness, our individuated ego aspect, has to learn to be in service again to that aspect, to the divine feminine, to the right brain consciousness, which is where our wholeness is. That is where the truth of us is. And that is who we really are. We're being asked to create with integrity. We're being asked to create from our wholeness, to channel our wholeness into this world and give us the guidance of what is the right action to take in any given moment. This definitely is a moment of rebalancing injustice, and many times across generations and across lifetimes. And we need to let go of the old stories. We need to let go of that and transform that so we can step into the truth of who we are. I'm going to hold a new moon ceremony that includes attunement, but also including Mars and Venus are in our attunement as well. Just asking for balance, asking to be purified. That's certainly what we do in attunement. The purification point that is before the heart and before our adrenals is the thymus area. And so when we're doing attunement, we're acknowledging that. And so I just expect that it's going to be really powerful attunement. So I invite all of you to join me. So we'll do it like we usually do, 7:30 a.m. on the 19th. And just understand if you are experiencing a lot of sadness or grief or very emotionally sensitive and have things coming up, that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that needs to happen. I just want you to know that you're not alone. Okay. And I did want to share something else. So November 19th is actually when 3 Atlas comes closest to the Earth. What I understand is that there is a choice point going to be made at that time. This is right before the winter solstice. And if enough of us have purged all that's keeping us from being in our wholeness and allowing for that to guide us and come back into right relationship where the masculine and feminine are concerned, if enough of us haven't done that are not on that path, then 3 Atlas will head to Saturn, and then we'll rinse, wash, and repeat. We'll go through another cycle of death and rebirth where the Earth is concerned. And that will be similar to the last cataclysm that happened 12,000 years ago. Yeah. And if enough of us are going to make that shift, then it will head to Jupiter. So December is the time. And so this new moon is very important. That is why leading up to that time, obviously what is in the best interest of all of creation, and am I willing to make that shift? Of course, because that's so much about what we're doing here. We're building for the future. I will say, just like in past cataclysms, there's some of us that survived that because we needed to rebuild for the future. And so I'm just going to be listening to that guidance. I'll be in my discernment. I'll be in my sovereignty and listening to what needs to happen and where we need to take action at any given time. And, if we need to move very quickly, then we will do that. And I'm just going to follow the prompts. So I want to wish all of you blessings during this time. I hope you can join attunement tomorrow on the 18th and on the 19th as well. All right. Much love.